Hi guys, welcome back to the debater. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Disney live action film Peter Pan and Wendy. So Emily's here with me, and I'm just going to be doing a spoiler review on, bless you Emily, a spoiler review on the film. Check out my non-spoiler review if you haven't watched the film, but if you have watched it, and I hope you like this review. But before you start, please make sure you like, subscribe, and yeah, I'm going to get started. So I mentioned in a non-spoiler review that I was a bit skeptical about watching this because I was a fan of the original and I was a fan of the 2003 film. So before watching this film, I was trying to avoid all ratings and reviews so they wouldn't cloud my judgment while watching the film, because I want to have fresh eyes, open mind about it. And I did manage to watch it in time, and it was pretty good. So I'm going to start in the beginning. So we get to meet the Darling family, their children, obviously, and we get to see Wendy, who is going to be off to boarding school, and she says she doesn't want to grow up. And the first thing that happened, like literally in a 5 minutes, is that the mother was singing a lullaby to the boys, and I instantly knew, oh god, it's going to be a musical. And I just, I don't know why, but I remember there was a musical about the pirates in the original, and I just think we're gonna get a live action pirate musical, and that was not gonna be good, and I'm gonna say that later. And then we get to later on, like literally in the next 3 minutes or something, we get to meet Peter Pan, who is played by Alexandra. We get to see Tinkerbell, and my god, Tinkerbell is actually very cute. Like every time she's on screen and she's tinkling, she's like a little tinkly person. I don't know how to describe it. She's gorgeous. The actress is really beautiful. But there were some things in my head I was thinking, what's going on? Because it was adding some different lines that wasn't from the original. Like Peter was saying, "Oh, I've come to take you away," and I'm like, "How do you know her? You never met her before." Like, and then again, explain that later. But one thing I didn't kind of like, it felt a bit rushed, because everybody knows the story about Peter Pan taking Wendy and her brothers to Neverland. But I felt like if you're doing a remake, just slow it down, because people probably haven't seen the classic, and if they're going to watch this remake, you should just slow down and let the characters introduce themselves. And it just felt a bit rushed to me. But then afterwards it actually got better, and I was a bit worried about like the green screen and the CGI and the flying scenes, because I thought that looked a bit off. But then it actually looked really well, and the way they flew through Big Ben was actually pretty good. Like the cinematography is really great, I must admit, and the framing as well. The director is really good. So they reached Neverland, and I mentioned this in a non-spoiler review, is that I felt like they missed the imagination, because if you've seen the 2003 film version or the original classic, then you know that Neverland is designed beautifully. And the classic is meant to be like based in the island is meant to be like a jungle. So I just thought, that seems a bit dull. So, because I thought it, like when you're young, kids used to climb trees or like go out and explore, and I thought a jungle would be great because there'd be like animals and stuff. This would be adventure for all kids. But if you could just doing like a simple forest, then I thought, what's the fun in that? So later on, they meet Jude Law, who played Captain Hook, and my god, he's absolutely great. I think he's the best bit in this film. Like he played Hook very well. The villains are always best, and he was scary. He was darker than the original. One thing that he wasn't was like from the original was he wasn't quite funny. Like some of his scenes were a bit comedy, but it doesn't matter because they were replaced from like the emotion of the twisted, rotten core of this character. He was good. Like I thought he was gonna kill one of his men once, which is similar to the original, but it was really good. So after the pirates, we get to see the Lost Boys, who are not all of them are boys, which is good, and some of them were from different ethnic backgrounds, which is great as well. And one of them, one actor who plays Slattery is actually the first actor with Down syndrome to land a major role in the film, which I think is really good, because I think we need more actors from like maybe from different backgrounds, but also with like maybe learning different difficulties, because I think it widens the audience and it talks to more kids as well, which is a really good call. And we also meet Tiger Lily, and I must admit, she is great. I'm glad she had a much bigger role, because we only see her in the original when she got kidnapped and then she danced in her tribe. We do get to see more of her, like more of her fighting skills or like her adventure side. But the sad thing is, in this film, we didn't get to see more of her with her tribe. We only get to see one small scene. But I was hoping we get to explore like when the Lost Boys joined the tribe and there was like a little dancing or celebration, because that happened in the original. And I thought, oh, this is great because we get to explore a different culture, and they did it in a really more respectful way. I was hoping they would do that in this film, because in the original film they did it in the most racist way. I'm sorry, Disney, but that was a horrible thing. But I was hoping for this they would show that more appropriately, but they didn't show it, so I was a bit disappointed about that. So anyway, we get to see the first fight between Hook and Pan, which came a bit earlier than I expected, which is at Skull Rock, and it was really good. And the fight scene is good. And then we get to see the crocodile, which I must admit I'm quite happy for, because the funniest things from the original is when Hook is trying to escape from the crocodile, but they did it really funny. And I keep remember watching it, and they only did that one scene. We only get to see the crocodile once. I'm like, what? Because he's a big character. He's meant to be there all the time, and not just seeing him there once in the middle of the film was quite horrible. That's like only seeing the hyenas in The Lion King once and not for the rest of the film. And because it's meant to be a big character, which is disappointing. Another disappointing thing, and I mentioned this in the non-spoiler review, that we're missing a lot of like few bits. So one was a crocodile, one was the mermaids, because the mermaids were meant to be very wild creatures. And in the original, they were trying to drown Wendy. And I was hoping, well, not hoping that we're going to do that again, but like hoping we get to see more of them, or like see them in their own way. But we only get to see like 5 seconds of them. I'm like, what? It's meant to be like a magical island with magical creatures, and you have one thing and you just cut them off. I mean, it's meant to be a kids film, guys. You're meant to be creative here. So then we get to explore more about Peter's background story, which I was really intrigued, because I don't recall any not Disney, but like Peter Pan's films that explore his background, about like what happened to him, about where he came from. I mean, Hook kind of did in a way, but we didn't get to see like the emotional side of Peter, like how he reacted to it as a child. And I think another best thing about it is that we get to explore the background between how Peter and Hook met. And again, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but like for this, we get to learn that Hook was friends with Peter when he was a boy, and Hook was a child. But when he was banished by Peter because he missed his mother, and then he left, was raised by pirates and grew and came back for revenge, and then he cut off his hand, which is, I think, sometime after his return. But I thought, oh wow. And that kind of reminded me of a Disney theory, and like that's saying like Hook was a child and then Peter like banish him or threaten to kill him because he grew up or something. And that was kind of related to the original book of Peter Pan, because I think the source said that boys who grow up get killed or banished by Peter. I'm like, oh wow, that's dark. So I'm very intrigued that they did something like that. Like, if you haven't seen or heard about these Disney fan theories, check them out, because it's really good. And they talk more about like Peter's a villain, and he's not the villain, but he is sort of like the reason why these villains are the bad guys, if that makes sense. And it's quite interesting because now we get to see that from a different point of view, that sometimes the heroes can be the villains of another story. And we can see the villains as not the bad people, just the misunderstood. And I quite like that. Another thing I like is the relationship between Peter and Wendy, because what I was quite hoping they weren't going to do a love story like they did in 2003 version. They did had a special connection. Like Peter was trying to make her like a best friend, because I think he lost Hook, was his best friend, as he was used to be known as James, because James Hook. So I think he was looking for someone, not someone to replace him, but like someone else he can have a nice connection with. And I don't know how to explain it, but there was some special connection between them. It wasn't love, because they were only kids, but like it was just like a simple good friendship. And then it got even darker when there was a scene where Hook kind of slashed blood across Peter, and then he fell, and that got instantly dark. Never thought they would do that in that kind of film. And then we get to explore more about Hook, life's past, where he talks to Wendy about his past, and it was quite interesting again. And then also another bit that I like, but something that did kind of bug me as well, is that Tinkerbell, while the actress was great and she was really wonderful and she looked cute as well, and part of me is glad that she had a nice relationship with Wendy, because in the original she was quite jealous of Wendy for having a special relationship with Peter, and she tried to kill her. If you haven't seen the original, but spoiler. But I just thought, like, for fairies, like in the Peter Pan original story, fairies are so small, they only have one emotion at a time. So she had this like intense jealousy for Wendy. So I just think you're making her a bit too human. You should have made her her own character in a way. So it's just like trying to make live action animals too human or something. But you should have just tried to make them their own nature. Like, let them express themselves. Like, lions be lions, hyenas be hyenas, snakes be snakes, fairies be fairies. Just, I like that she's not more of a side character. She's more of a, she's more like the big sister of Pan. Like, she's always like a conscience to him. Like, she's always helping him out. But we see her, she expressed her deep love, like friendship love for Pan. But I just feel like you kind of made the character less interesting by not expressing her true nature, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're going to the big fight where we hear a pirate song. It's not very catchy, but it's not awful. It just sounded quite dark in a way. It's just talking about like when you drown, you're gonna be at the bottom and you'll probably get eaten or something. And that's it. That's what every kid's like to listen to these days. And then so yeah, we get to the big fight. We get to see the pirate ship flying. We get to see Hook versus Pan, and then we get Tiger Lily joins in, which is great because she needs more scenes. And then we get Wendy fighting in as well. And then there's some scenes where, because Peter couldn't fly, he not sure why he couldn't fly at that time. Maybe he lost his magic or shadow, or that was a bit of a plot twist for me. But there was a time he nearly fell, but then Wendy swoops in and catches him because she was flying. And I thought, that's a good reverse role, like, because he's usually in the one swooping in and saving the day, but she's the one that flies in and saves him. So I thought that was a good character reverse. Well, reverse, really. And then we get this scene where, because what I love in film is just the character arcs for a certain character, like Pan is childish and cocky, and in throughout this time film, he explains that being a child is great and that Hook is evil and there's nothing we could do. I'm always the hero. I'm meant to win my battles all the time. And then we get the scene where he confronts Hook, and then we see him like saying he's sorry for hurting him in the past, for banishing him and make him who he is. And I thought, oh wow, this is something new, because I don't think we've ever seen this kind of character, like Peter Pan, a childish character, actually doing a grown-up thing. And that's a very big improvement on him. And especially to Hook, because I joke, because as much as he's meant to be like a very dark and twisted character, he's human, he's got emotions, and I think he feels a bit relief. And yeah, it's got nice, it had a nice little moment between the two. Not like a very like interesting or lovely moment or something, but like just something where I don't know, explain it, where it's just one character relieves the other by taking up responsibility and lifting up and just apologizing for their mistakes. And I think that's a big step for Peter, really. And that's good. And then in the end, Fox fell into the ocean. And I was expecting him to get eaten by a crocodile, to be honest, because that's how it usually is. And I thought, because it went that dark in the middle, I was expecting it to be dark in the end. But then we afterwards we see Peter flies the ship and heads back to London for the kids, and he drops Wendy and his and above his and all the lost kids into the Darling family to be adopted. And we get to see the real reason why Peter always comes back to Wendy's house. It's because when Peter and Wendy were on the roof, she gets to look on the chimney and see his signature on it that proves that he once lived in her house a long time ago with his mother. And it just, I thought that was very emotional, because again, we never explore his background, and his background is actually quite sad. He runs away from home because he doesn't want to grow up, but then he never once sees his mother again. I thought, oh my God, but he always comes back because it was his home, and Wendy is living in it, and he wants to just listen to his mother's stories and hoping he could just be a part of it. And that is really touchy. I think that's one of the sweetest Disney scenes I've ever seen so far in a live action film. But it was really touchy, especially when Wendy says sometimes, when she said like life is one of the biggest adventures of all, like growing up is a big adventure. And that's why I said like the message is clear, but they change it different, but in a better way. It's not about don't grow up and rush through childhood. Live your life well. Don't grow up the wrong way, like Captain Hook. Grow up your right way. Grow up how you want to be, and take responsibility, but also live your life. And I think that message was really great, and that's why I really liked it. So, and then we get to see Peter returns to Neverland with the ship, and then we see Hook still alive, and we see the two looking down at each other, and that kind of just tells me that there's going to be a sequel. We're going to see more of them somehow, because these two, like the hero and the villain, they're like Batman and Joker, Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. They're meant to be together. You can't see a story without either one of them. So I think we're going to see a sequel, maybe with these two fighting, or maybe not, but who knows? But maybe. So yeah, I mean, the story was great, the casting's good, but like I said, I think it's just imagination that was missed out hugely in this film. But also, while the story was touching and more emotional, we get to explore the character's background, I do feel like because they were trying to push in a lot of like grown-up messages and about very emotional stuff into the story, they kind of push out like the creative and childish funness from the story. Like, it's meant to be fun, adventurous, it's meant to be creative and imaginative. I feel like some of that was kind of poured out to make room for all the emotions and all the key messages the director wants to put in. So I like the film. Wouldn't say it's my favorite, but I would say might be worth watching just because it had an interesting take on the story, which I like, because it's not exactly the same. It's something new, but it is following basically the same source, which is really good. So yeah, Emily, now you heard the spoiler part. What do
Yeah.
you
Um, I don't know, like all those messages, like, whoa, and then that part that Peter like went back to his childhood home, like that was just it's so sad. I don't know if I want to watch it because it's gonna be too sad. But no, that I don't know, for some reason that sort of made me want to watch it more.
Hmm.
Is that weird? I don't know, but
No,
I
no,
sort of want to watch it more just because like the way you've explained it, like some of that stuff I didn't even process, so it's gonna be a shock to me when it happens, some of the stuff. But I don't know, like just the way you've explained it is just sort of
no.
like made me want to watch it and like give it a try and like go,
Yeah.
is it actually that sad or was like Grace just, you know?
No, I'm not saying it's sad, but I do say it kind of make kids, because lots of us when we're young had to face like very emotional stuff. So I think this kind of portrayed it really well. But again, I feel like because it's meant to be based on like a child's story, I felt like it did lost imagination.
Mm.
But I think definitely watch it for Jude Law, because Captain Hood is basically the best bits.
This is
He's
literally what
so
everybody said.
he's so good. He's
Grace, you want a
really
poster of him, don't you want? I don't want to get you.
but it's really good. It's really good. So yeah, thank you guys for watching my spoiler review. If you have seen the film, please leave down in the comments down below on your thoughts on the film. Whether did you like it, did you not like it, did you like Captain Hook, do you think this could be a sequel? Tell us anything really. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Check out our other reviews on Disney films and Marvel films as well, and check out our debates we've done. Is Latin set in the future? Because again, I think this film has linked to like a fan theory of Peter Pan and the original source material. So it's good. So I think that's a great thing. Check out our other debates from Marvel and Disney and a whole lot of other stuff. Also check out the debate about is immortality good, or do you want to stay immortal? So that's kind of linked. So give that a try. And follow us on, oh yeah, check out our games, pranks, the whole lot. It's good. Check out our website, has information about us and some of our videos. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We will definitely follow you back. And thanks again for watching. And until next time, bye.
Bye.